Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon to all of you. I would like to welcome all 6 commissioners as well as representatives of international organizations, the public, media, and journalists attending this meeting. I would like to extend a special welcome to speakers representing stakeholders organizations who will share their views during the public hearing session. Well, I would like to recall that the draft 6-item agenda was published on the Cabinet of Ministers website, and no request for additional agenda items were received from other commissioners. I would like to invite the commissioners to endorse the draft agenda.
I've endorsed it.
Thank you.
I agree with the agenda.
I support the agenda. I support the agenda.
Okay.
I also support.
Okay, thank you. So all the commissioners supported the agenda. Therefore, now I declare that the agenda is adopted. Now, the Commission will consider the second agenda item, that is the overview of the time frame for the selection process. I would like to invite the Secretary of the Commission, Mr. Oleg Timikev, to present a summary of the key milestones and the indicative timeline for the selection process. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dear colleagues, dear participants of the meeting, dear representatives of the public, everyone who is viewing us right now. Let me briefly present our vision about the indicative timeline that is necessary to conduct the competition for filling in the position of the head of the State Customs Service of Ukraine. First of all, I would like to emphasize that we, as the Commission, are approaching this process with maximum responsibility. Our goal is to ensure a professional, independent, and transparent competition that will comply with the best international practices. And this is a process that requires proper quality at each of its stages. We are oriented at the long duration, at the general duration of about 6 months, which is a completely reasonable time frame in view of all requirements and procedures set out by the legislation. Let me summarize key milestones. First of all, we are talking about the adoption of the rules of procedure of the Commission and preparation of package of documents for announcement of the competition. Right now, we already have the draft ROP that has already been published at the web page of the Commission at the website of the Cabinet of Ministers. And we expect to get comments and written suggestions from you within the next 5 days.
Recording in progress.
We will be able to agree on the final text. But we will discuss the rules of procedure in more detail during the next item of our agenda. After adoption of the rules of procedure, we will prepare the full package of documents for official announcement of the competition, including the procedure of the competition conduct, criteria, and methodology for assessment of candidates, as well as all other necessary documents. After that, we will have official announcement of the start of the competition. We plan to give sufficient time to candidates for submission of their applications in order to allow broad participation and high-quality selection. The practice of previous commissions was 30 days, and we believe it to be a reasonable time frame. After that, the Commission will check compliance of documents submitted by candidates and will prepare the list of candidates admitted to the competition. After admission, we'll have testing for the knowledge of the legislation, anti-corruption provisions, general skills, and professional competences. With respect to candidates who will pass the testing stage, then the Commission will assess their professional experience, knowledge, and personal qualities. Besides, there will be special check conducted as set out by the law of Ukraine on corruption prevention and the check set out by the law of Ukraine on purification of power. Based on experience of previous commissions and according to our assessments, we will require about 4 or 5 weeks for this stage. The next stage will be interview with finalists regarding their compliance with the criteria of integrity and professional competence. The Commission will analyze the results, and pursuant to results of that, we will decide on 2 candidates who will be recommended for appointment. As a summary of the Commission's work, that will be preparation of results and submission of recommendation to the Ministry of Finance regarding 2 best candidates. This way, the entire process consists of the stages I've outlined, and you will be able to analyze them in more detail once the procedure of the competition conduct, criteria, and methodology for assessment of candidates will be prepared. And we will also publish these documents at our webpage, and we will submit them for public discussion. Each of the stages of the competition is justified and envisions the period of time for its quality conduct. In total, according to our estimates, as I've mentioned, that's about 24-26 weeks, so about 6 months in total. We are convinced that independent, professional, and transparent competition cannot be short in time without the harm for its quality. We are all aware of the political sensitivity of this issue, including the fact that appointment of the new permanent head of the Customs Service is one of the structural milestones with the memorandum with the IMF. But we are also well aware of the fact of that the result is important. We are convinced that trust in the result can emerge only if the process is trusted. That's why we cannot be in haste at the cost of sacrificing transparency or quality. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for your extensive presentation of the indicative timeline with key milestones, and also that you mentioned some political with this time frame. Now, I would like to open the floor to commissioners to share your views, and also whether you endorse the proposed indicative timeline. You have the floor, sir. Who would break the ice?
May I start? Yes, thank you very much for presenting this very thoroughly calculated timeline. I believe this is in line with legal requirements. And we also have to highlight that this is only an indicative timeline, which might be affected by some reply preparing by some institutions, which does not depend on our side. So yes, I fully support the proposed timeline and hope we will manage to implement it accordingly. Thank you.
Thank you. And now, David.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I also support the timeline and just want to point out that the Commission is actually starting our work a little bit lacking in support. We've actually started work before the full working group to support us has been put in place. And I believe we all agreed to do that as quickly as possible with whatever minimal support we could get in order to start the timeline, to show our seriousness and to show our desire to move quickly. So I hope that that'll be taken into consideration when people look at the timeline. But I also want to echo the point that Arunas made, that there are steps in the time frame that are not within our control. They're within the control of Ukrainian institutions. So the reason the timeline, I think, is more indicative is that there are times when we will be waiting for responses and for reactions and input from Ukrainian institutions. And if those institutions follow the timeframes that are in the Customs Code, then I think this timeframe makes the most sense for our work. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Andrew, you have the floor, sir.
Дякую, пане голово.
Thank you,
Дякую,
Mr. Chair. Thank you, dear members of the Commission. Yes, indeed, we have thoroughly thought on how quickly this competition can be conducted. We've seen the practices and the requirements that exist and that are stipulated by the law. And unfortunately, we just cannot allow ourselves to do it in a shorter time frame, because in order to pass all the stages and in order to have the transparent competition, in order for candidates to have enough time for preparation and for their study as candidates, and for us to be able to get acquainted with all the documents provided by them, and in order for the working group that we have, our assistants whom we already have, so that they would also be able to process all of that accordingly, also referring to the fact that we have many bodies and institutions involved into the conduct of the check. And that's why we are talking about this minimum time frame of 6 months in order to conduct this competition. But as members of the Commission have already mentioned, we will really work so that the new head is appointed as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Dmitry?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I fully support the suggested indicative timeline and the description of those procedures that Olah voiced. I understand expectations of the society, expectations of business, so that reforming of the customs service is completed as quickly as possible, so that what the society is expecting, so that the head of the customs service is a reform-oriented person, because effective work of the customs service is not only about business processes, it's also about the state policy. But when we are talking about quality and procedures, we have to comply with the procedures. We have to comply with the customs code, and we will do that because the quality is the key factor for us. But I support my colleagues who have expressed their views previously. If procedures and the law allow us to finish the competition effectively in short period of time, I'm sure that our entire Commission will do everything possible to finish it as soon as possible, but with high quality. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I take it that, well, all the 6 commissioners are in agreement that, well, this indicative time frame of 6 months, and well, this is indicative, as has been explained, that there are some steps that we are not really in control, but we try to, well, respond to required legal steps, and but as all the commissioners have stated, we have been working very hard since the working group has been established. Well, therefore, now I would like to, well, say that, well, after hearing all the interventions from the commissioners, I note that while the, well, sensitive issue of IMF, well, conditionality, it is primarily a matter between the government and the IMF. The Commission seeks to be constructive by explaining through appropriate communications, possibly in the form of a letter to the IMF or other means, the timeline necessary for the Commission to properly fulfill its mandate. Well, this is the role of the Commission to provide, well, explain professionally what is needed. Well, with that, now I'd like to conclude that Commission has endorsed the proposed indicative timeline, and now the discussion under agenda item 3 is closed. Now, I'd like to announce that the next agenda item 4, that is presentation of the draft regulations for public comment, will be taken up. Again, I would like to invite the Secretary of the Commission to present the draft regulation of procedures.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, good afternoon, dear participants, dear colleagues. We have prepared the draft rules of procedure of our Commission. This is the document that is regulating key principles of our work, interaction with third parties. The document consists of such chapters as general provisions and principles of activities, powers of Commission and Commissioners, powers of the Chair and Secretary of the Commission, organization and procedure of conduct of meetings and adoption of decisions, work of assistance of the Commission. The draft ROP will not be explained in detail by me right now because it is available at the website of the Cabinet of Ministers of the page of the Commission. We have also disseminated it among all the organizations that will be providing their comments during item 5 of our agenda. We are asking all stakeholders to submit their comments in writing, within 5 working days. On our page, you can find our email address. After that, we will analyze and, if necessary, improve the document, taking into consideration your constructive suggestions before we will adopt it as a final ROP. Thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you, Secretary. Yes, as part of the Commission's commitment to full transparency, the draft was already made available for public comment on the Cabinet of Ministers website. Therefore, I encourage you to look at that draft and provide us comments on that draft. And with that, I would like to thank Secretary for the information, and the agenda item 4 is now concluded. Well, now I'm moving on to the agenda item 5, that is the public hearing with stakeholders. Well, the objective of this hearing is to support the Commission in developing the selection methodology for the head of customs. I would like to explain that while many stakeholders are interested in customs-related matters, the Commission has invited organizations active in custom reform, including anti-corruption initiatives, and associations whose members are regularly engaged with customs in their economic activities. I would like to emphasize that other stakeholders who are not invited to speak today will have an opportunity to submit written contributions, which the Commission values equally with other oral presentations. So we would like to make sure that the opportunity is equally offered to all the stakeholders. Now, I would like to invite the speakers representing stakeholder organization to present their views on 3 key topics. First, expectations for the head of customs. Second, qualities and competencies required for this post. And thirdly, the roles of government, business, and other stakeholders in supporting the head of customs in performing his or her duties. I would like to kindly request all speakers to focus strictly on these topics that will help us to develop the competition rules, and to refrain from raising individual operational issues or seeking case-specific solutions. Well, I'd like to explain in more detail how the procedure will be rolled out. Those who would like to take the floor, please raise their hands by pressing the respective button in Zoom. I hope you know how to use the Zoom. There is a button to raise the hands. And speakers will be invited to speak in order as they raise their hands. Almost all speakers raise their hand at the same time. So I'll use my discretion. And to allow for the broadest participation, each speaker will have up to therefore that you can be concise and crispy in taking up your points. And for this time management, with the assistance of the working group, a signal will be given at 4 minutes, after which I will invite the speakers to conclude. And anyway, the microphone will be automatically turned off at 5 minutes. The chair doesn't have control of that switching off. And any speakers among you who wish to provide additional information or raise additional issues or elaborate further, then you are invited to submit written comments within the following 5 working days. Now, I would like to invite speakers wishing to take the floor to raise hands. Well, you have already done. And I look forward to hear your valuable insight and points that I asked you. So in my screen, I can see the first one. That is Miss Okasana Shvets. Amchan, please, you have the floor.
Доброго дня, шановні колеги. Дуже дякую за можливість
Hello,
сьогодні
dear colleagues. Thank you so much for letting me to join you at this very important stage for us, the stage of discussions and the stage of selection of a new head of the State Customs Service. We appreciate your work so much. And today, as Mr. Chairman has already expressed, we would like today to share our priorities and our vision, the vision of the business community regarding the qualities of the new head of the SCS and our expectations regarding further interaction with public authorities and businesses. Of course, regarding priorities, we see professionalism, impartiality, and integrity in activities of the Customs Service as an institution. And it would be great if the new head will ensure independence of functioning of the State Customs Service, will build and strengthen dialogue with other public authorities in order to ensure the maximum level of efficient cooperation and actions of joint interest. For us, it's also important that all other public authorities express comprehensive authorities and let the new head build a new team and implement independent policy. So the focus shall be on the efficiency of the work, including in fighting with corruption or other things or problems with tax payments to the budget. We think that it should be one priorities of the State Customs Service. The new head shall also develop feasible and objective KPIs, which will be supported by business and approved by the law. Also, in order to align implementation of the ideas, so the new head shall have a clear vision how to formulate a strategy for functioning of the service and will help establish efficient work of the state customs service. And of course, personal leadership and motivation by own example for all the staff of the state customs service shall be also among the key priorities of the new head. And of course, from the perspective of business, we would like for the new head of the customs service to be focused on partnership with businesses, and for this person to consider the business which acts with integrity, first of all, as a partner rather than an alleged perpetrator. And the new head shall be open for the new dialogue and transparent dialogue, including through the business associations. And of course, we think that it's important to implement digital solutions, automatization, simplify procedures, reduce bureaucracy, and focus functioning of business activities on the European standards in the context of accession to the EU in the trade sector. So from our side, we are ready to provide support and These co-chairs of the subcommittee on customs policies have contributed to amendments to the customs code. Now they are working on the proposals regarding the new customs code, which will help to align Ukrainian legislation with the EU acquis. So if it's needed, we are ready to provide the new head with comprehensive support. And thank you so much for inviting us into this process. Thank you so much. That's all from my side.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Schubert. Well, I was informed that the top left is the earliest, so I will designate one by one from the top left on the screen. So, Mr. Roman Waschuk.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mikuria. On behalf of the Business Ombudsman Council and drawing on our 10 years of experience in customs matters, I think there are 7 key factors that we see in answering the 3 questions. One is the new head of customs has to have a real commitment to the rule of law in customs administration, sets a high ethical standard, a personal example of compliance, but avoids excessive formalism when dealing with legitimate importers, setting a new benchmark for legal culture across the customs ecosystem, particularly in ensuring respect for and implementation of judicial decisions, which has been spotty so far. The person should have a public administration background. I think there's a temptation maybe to bring someone in directly from business, but if somebody has not worked in government before, they will be at a loss. Not necessarily from the customs sphere, but with prior experience in the civil service, understands how the public administration system functions, how to cooperate effectively with other state institutions, and AmCham has mentioned this, particularly the Bureau of Economic Security of Ukraine. So it's important to focus on building constructive partnerships with law enforcement rather than complaining about what powers the state customs service itself lacks, which has often been something we've experienced recently. Somebody with an openness to national and international cooperation, and especially with a focus on data exchange and mutual recognition of customs procedures, key to building an efficient and transparent and trusted customs institution. Somebody who is proactive and responsible in their approach to eliminating illegal practices, somebody ready to actively combat smuggling and gray imports, a leader who focuses on finding opportunities and solutions rather than accepting learned institutional helplessness because of limited powers or insufficient data. Strong leadership and integrity, somebody ready to take responsibility for the entire customs staff to ensure unified standards across all regional offices and to maintain zero tolerance towards corruption and unlawful practices. Somebody who believes in partnership with business and the public, which is important to building trust. We hope to see a leader open to communication, genuinely committed to the consult first principle, allowing businesses to obtain information and clarifications before new measures are introduced and before having to face any negative decisions from customs authorities. And then lastly, Again, it's been mentioned already, but transparency and measurable performance. Commitment to transparent, well-defined KPIs that reflect the real effectiveness of customs procedures rather than simply counting up how many actions have been taken, and highlight areas for improvement. We expect the future head would be open to feedback from civil society regarding the assessment of customs performance, viewing such engagement as an essential element of transparency and public trust. We also hope to see readiness to share non-sensitive performance data publicly, with due regard for national security, of course, understanding current wartime conditions, but publishing enough data so that performance can effectively be measured. So thank you very much for the demanding work that you, the selection committee, have taken on, and we wish you all the best in selecting a candidate who embodies all the good things that we are collectively telling you about today.
Thank you very much. Now I'd like to ask Ms. Katerina Graskova. You have the floor, madam.
Thank you so much. Шановні, дякую, пане голова комісії.
Dear Chairman of the Commission, thank you so much. Dear Commission members, dear colleagues from the business community and the public, thank you so much for this opportunity to present today the position of the Ukrainian business regarding our expectations for the new head of the State Customs Service. For the Ukrainian business, the customs issue, it's not just about export or import. No, it's about renewing trust, it's about transparency, it's about fair rules of a game, which will ensure foundation for development of our economy and for influx of the investments into Ukraine. That's why our organization considers this competition as a historic, unique opportunity to put this dead point for the previous problems in this sector and consider customs as a new partner for the state and for businesses. It will also, so our organization provides a lot of support to Ukrainian businesses in terms of getting on the Ukrainian and international markets, providing different kinds of consultations. And that's why for the third year under our union, we have the Center of International Department, which actually ensures communication with our international partners, where we deal with all the problems related to external trade. As a union, we have actively supported the law which became into force and actually allowed for having this new competition for the selection of the new head. And Andrei Yershov, representative of our new union, is actually the competition member, competition commission member. So regarding our expectations, we expect that the future head of the State Customs Service will indeed become a new leader of changes rather than just an administrator of processes. It shall be a person who is capable to break down all the old schemes which actually do not work for the benefit of honest business. So this person should have a high moral principles, high reputation and capability and visibility to make fair and right decisions. So it's important to have skills on digitalization and risk management. This person should also know how to build a team of professionals and how to communicate not only with government but also with professionals and businesses and be open to feedback response. Shall know how to build a team of professionals. Our ideal candidate should have three key features: zero tolerance to corruption in any form, deep understanding of economic processes, of customs, regulation, and international standards, and capability to openly work with businesses, explain decisions of the customs, and be open to feedback response. We do not look for the manager of the customs service, but a person who manager of new generation who sees customs not as a new barrier but as a part of trade economy. And be open to partnerships and feedbacks. We think that even the best candidate will not be able to do it alone. That's why it's so important to have support from the side of the government, which shall ensure political protection from pressure and support for reforms. Businesses which I represent shall not be just critical entity, but a partner. We are ready to contribute with proposals, ideas, to complete the development of the reform in order for it to be built on real facts and calculations calculations rather than just some assumptions. So civil society and all other stakeholders should play an important role in ensuring transparency and accountability, which actually become pillars for the people's trust. So we need to have transparent solutions, digitalization, scanners, different automatization systems, as it allows to decrease the human factor, increase risk management, and increase people's trust. So what's important? It's important to have public access to information and information to be made publicly available. Also important to integrate our new customs code with the EU legislation and our databases in order to minimize bureaucracy. So leadership shall be one of the key pillars, because a leader who has a real reputation, who doesn't only declare changes but is ready to implement, doesn't afraid of communication and interaction with businesses, and is not afraid of conflicts. So that's what's important. Today we have this opportunity not just to change the customs sector, but to change the whole interaction between the customs services and the state. So we kindly ask the Commission to put as a priority values rather than some processes, because the fair customs service will help to contribute to the developing economy of Ukraine. Thank you for your attention.
Well, thank you very much for your contribution. Now I'd like to invite Miss Katerina Butko.
Доброго дня, Катерина Будко, голова
Hello, Katerina Butko, the head of Automaidan. Actually, I'm going to be very brief. And yeah, maybe I will express some general things, but, you know, because regarding expectations, what we expect from the candidate, what the candidate shall be, actually it has already been mentioned by all my colleagues before me regarding the qualities and other competences that should be had by this person. So actually listening to my colleagues, I'm already doubting whether we will be able to find such a perfect candidate, but at least we need to try. So our organization has contributed to the monitoring of many competitions for public positions, both in law enforcement authorities and anti-corruption authorities. And of course, based on our experience and what I can tell you in general, that this candidate, first of all, should have no doubts regarding their integrity. But also, it's extremely important for this candidate to have general vision of how they plan to develop specifically this service, customs service, and this candidate shall also have not just an understanding in what direction they shall go, but maybe to have some kind of vision of a team that is needed for it, and understanding of a timeline which is needed to implement such so crucial reform. But I don't want to repeat my colleagues regarding all the competences and qualifications that were mentioned by colleagues. I will support them in those ideas. I just would like to add up to what they have already said. What's also important while carrying out monitoring of this competition, that's of course openness and the maximum publicity of this process. So I'm so thankful to the competition commission, which actually is showing us today, it has already shown to us that it's open for all the possible concerns, recommendations, and is ready to be public. And second issue, which has already been raised, and regarding the timeline. So I would like to compliment on this matter. So the timeline of 6 months has already been mentioned. So I think that my colleagues will agree with me that it's extremely important to ensure quality of this process. If it is part of the fact that, yeah, someone would say that, no, you need to do it quicker. No, here, considering the balance between swiftness and quality, the top priority should be the quality of the selection process. So, dear Commission members, I call you to work according to the mentioned agenda which you have developed for yourselves, because it's so crucial to focus on selection of qualitative candidates, to give enough time and opportunity to candidates, to applicants who would like to participate in this competition, actually to submit their candidates and application packages, and to give enough time to other stakeholders, including public organizations and CSOs, to analyze candidates' profiles and provide this response to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Clear. Now I'd like to invite Mr. Ruslan Ilichov.
Доброго дня, шановні
Good
колеги,
afternoon, dear colleagues, dear chairman, dear members of the commission. I'm the representative of the Federation of Employers of Ukraine that unites about 8,000 industrial companies and is a social partner of the government, and we employ almost 3 million of employees. Since the moment of the adoption of the current customs code, we have been seriously working on this document. So for almost 20 years we have the Customs Committee. So today's meeting and the issue of selection of a new head of the Customs Service is extremely important for uninterrupting the functioning of Ukrainian business and economy. The Employers Federation has prepared 15 requirements to the head and their justification. I will additionally send these detailed documents in writing, but now I would like to emphasize these 15 points that we consider to be essential requirements for the selection of the head of the Customs Service. Firstly, high level of integrity and immaculate conduct in professional activities. Secondly, capacity to ensure uninterrupted and successful implementation of anti-corruption program of the Customs Service. Professional competence and in-depth knowledge of the legislation, including customs, anti-corruption legislation, and on the civil service. We believe that there shall be proper level of professional competence, and this is the mandatory criteria. The head shall ensure proper and correct application and adherence to all provisions of the customs legislation, as well as knowledge and compliance with anti-corruption legislation. Competence in structural reforms and ability to maintain mechanisms for implementation of the national revenue strategy tasks. And we believe that the modernization of the customs service, including timely appointment of the head, is critical for the restoration of the fiscal resilience of the country, especially during the war. The health shall ensure effective implementation of the national strategy of revenues, especially during the situation of the warfare. He shall ensure a proper balance between the customs control and simplification of trade. This is a very important moment, and we believe that currently we have to do everything possible together that Ukraine Customs works primarily as a service mechanism for ensuring uninterrupted work of export and import transactions. The key KPIs for the head shall be a balance between mobilization of revenues, facilitation of trade, management, and decrease of risks. Next, leadership in harmonization of the customs legislation with the EU acquis. And this was already mentioned, and this is really important that the new head of the customs service had to adopt swift decisions in order to harmonize all regulatory acts and laws with the European provisions that are related to the functioning of the customs services. Then, capacity for digital transformation and the introduction of new IT solutions compliant with the EU. I would like to emphasize timely and uninterrupted exchange of databases with databases, for example, of customs bodies of the EU, that will significantly decrease contraband risks and that will balance out those shortcomings that now happen during the exchange of databases. Now, risk management skills in order to identify and assess risks during external trade. We believe that there shall be a very powerful analytical capacity that will allow either to quickly introduce new risk profiles or to have a system of effective risk management. Then, experience of work with international customs systems and tools such as NCTS and IO. We believe that nowadays the new head shall ensure further progress in implementation, especially with respect to the transition of Phase 6 on NCTS and she shall ensure proper development of the institute. It is unacceptable for almost 1.5 years. We have a situation when during the adoption of the respective legislation, still the NCTS system is not working for Ukrainian business. Then, capacity to effectively work during the conditions of uncertainty and to ensure macroeconomic stability. Then, skills of strategic international cooperations and interaction with customs bodies of neighboring countries. Leadership, institutional development of the customs service, including implementation of the KPI assessment system. Another important indicator is development of the help desk that will respond to business requests, and partnership relationship between the state customs services with all central executive bodies are extremely important, and they will ensure effective functioning of the state customs service. Capacity to organize investigative and search activities and pre-trial investigation of criminal proceedings. We believe that the head shall ensure development of the function of customs bodies, including related to operational and investigative activities. And today, the head shall do everything possible to strengthen control on the borders of Ukraine and to make sure that this control will be strengthened on the customs territory of Ukraine. This way, we can implement new mechanisms that will decrease the time for customs registration of cargo and to shift this control inside. HR management experience. And finally, that is the principle of proper carefulness during decision-making and responsibility. We believe that the new head of including system of responsibility for violation of with respect to the business by officials of the customs service. Thank you everyone for attention. We will officially share the document with these 15 requirements, and we have additionally prepared new urgent decisions for the new head of the customs service, and we will send the official letter to you. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Anyway, your written contributions will be all uploaded in full at the website of Cabinet of Ministers. Next speaker, I would like to invite Mr. Sehil Pozniak. The floor is yours, sir.
Доброго дня, шановні
Good
колеги.
afternoon, dear colleagues. Thank you so much for the invitation. Thank you for paying attention to this important issue and for inviting the representative of the veterans community. I'm Serhiy Pozniak, the head of the Association of Veteran Entrepreneurs. And accordingly, I would like to explain the context a bit. According to survey of the Ministry of Veterans Affairs, we have additionally expectation of 6 million participants of compact activities. And this figure has been increasing from one survey to another. So undeniably, we understand that we are going to have the nation of veterans. 64% from those men and women who are fighting at the war want to be businessmen and businesswomen. 13% of them are already entrepreneurs. This is the biggest category among active service members, and that is business. So if we keep the old corruption customs system that existed in the past, those people who have been defending democratic values of the entire free world with firearms in their hands will not understand that. And we are risking at causing social conflict, and I should not explain the dangers of that. So that's why in reality, the new head of the customs service will become the face with a new challenge. That is a large number of participants of hostilities, at almost 10% or maybe even 20% according to some surveys of all employable population. Especially we will have lots of them in business. So the new head should undeniably be a professional the head should have all necessary competences to work transparently and to have integrity since the very beginning. The head should not have any corruption scandals in the past, some skeletons in the past or something like that. And in the context of the above, the new head should be veteran-oriented. So communication with veterans should be based on three notions: respect, attention, and understanding. The new head should know about the veterans legislation. For example, participants of active hostilities should go without a queue, but at customs they do not know that. The new head should know how to prepare the team to work with veterans. We will have a huge number of veterans in business. We will also have veterans engaged in international activities. I'm, as the chair of the Commerce Chamber in the Veterans Affair, can say that we are already preparing some veterans businesses to go into international domain. So the head should know and be able to prepare the infrastructure given the inclusivity requirements, because we have a large number of people with disability, with amputations, and customs terminal and the entire customs infrastructure has to be ready for that. Benefits for participants of hostilities regarding customs clearance should be taken into account as well. And we all know about the undeniable factor of the state regarding involvement of veterans into the civil service as announced by President Zelensky. So the new head should actively involve veterans with respective competence to serve in the customs service. It would be great if the new head also could have the experience of participation in active hostilities. Specialized institutions, primarily the Ministry of Veterans Affairs and the Social Committee of the Parliament for the Protection of Veterans' Rights, have to tightly cooperate with the new head, and the new head shall ensure communication, both internal and external communication with them, regarding protection of rights of veterans, and accordingly, protection of interests and the introduction of a such system that will promote development of veterans' businesses. Thank you. That's it. I finished my report.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, next speaker, I would like to invite Mr. Mikhailo Nepran.
Good afternoon, colleagues. Probably I'm of the very few present speakers who directly represent the structure that has worked for over 50 years with the customs service. And we know that not theoretically, not only from the perspective of business, but also from the perspective of internal processes faced by exporters and importers. It has happened today in a paradox way that at 4 p.m. I had 2 Zooms, one with you, and the other parallel Zoom is with the Ministry of Economy, Customs Service, and the Trade and Commercial Chamber regarding the beneficial duty for export of soya and rape. And you know, that is a very practical case that vividly displays the situation in the Customs Service. At the same time, talks about amendments, unfinished amendments, actually result in the paralysis of the situation at the level of implementers, at the level of the middle level, as to those who are working and giving commands. Last week, when the resolution of the Cabinet of Ministers was adopted, I was just observing when the Vice Premier was not merely pressuring, but he was resisting the mid-level of the Customs Service managers who did not want to undertake any responsibility. So when we are talking about the work of the Customs Service, and now we are implementing this initiative that we're discussing, of course, a lot will depend on the head, on the personality of the head. I have no illusions that we will have someone from the moon or from other country. We've already had experiments when people from Georgia and Poland were invited to the Customs Service, and these foreigners allegedly were not obliged to be connected with the Ukrainian reality, to have experience and to improve everything. But unfortunately, all of that failed. Undeniably, that has to be at the head who understands what the customs system is, how it functions from the inside. Because to break down, or rather I would say, as a former official, I understand that it's not that easy to break down, but this is a long and thorough work on redirection of activities of the customs system. Not public, ungrateful, but it has to be done by a person who will have huge experience, huge patience, first of all. Secondly, while conducting the competition since the very beginning, we need to foresee the possibility to form a team for the next head, because if the head does not have a chance to form his own team, it will not give any results. And thirdly, which I would probably prioritize, in the past, I published a post that nowadays in the customs service, the custom officer is not taking a decision. There are representatives of all law enforcement bodies, and the customs officer is not independent. Basically, all representatives of the structure were mad at me because they were telling that was not true. But a month after that, the Minister of Finances recognized that he is not impacting the activities of the customs services, but all other law enforcement bodies are impacting that. So, without institutional independence, when the customs officer is taking the decision independently, it cannot happen. But officially, now there are like 5 or 6 unofficial customs officers. The second point about the head. Again, I have no illusions that we will find the absolutely honest, intelligent, adequate, reasonable person. After all, the society has a demand for such people who would be at least at the level of who would comply to our attempts with all of their shortcomings and sins. But at least these aspects that I've mentioned and that status that we can give to them, of course, will help. Because, for example, there is one of the most corrupt aspects in activities of the customs service, that is the determination of the customs value. There is a classic phrase of the third president: why are they exporting house shoes for costing $2 and then it costs $200 in stores? How it happens? It happens because we have non-transparent closed system for the determination of the customs value. What has to be done for that? On the one hand, we have international practices, we have international treaties, and customs officers do not want to follow them. They follow them more or less when it's convenient for them. There is another moment that, by the way, was already mentioned by previous speakers. That's about participation of independent expert institutions in the determination of the customs value. Because when the external economic operator does agree with the customs value, this organization is going to the claim and wins cases in court. By the way, one of the most scandalous corrupt schemes was built on what? On the customs value that was determined. They went to court. In the court, they defended, and then they, I think it was the notorious case of Kaufman that was built on that. So understanding of this process has to be by this man. Because now we are facing another problem as well. The international customs...
Please conclude.
So the possibility to have temporary export of goods to conference will be done by business in electronic format. Is the customs service ready? No, it's not ready. They are waiting for commands. They are waiting for methodological recommendations. They are looking at Brussels or at the Cabinet of Ministers of Agree. So, summarizing, I would like to say thank you, colleagues, for the invitation. Thank you for the opportunity to address you. For us, as a practical structure that is working with the customs service on a daily basis, we are in the discussion, but we are doing everything for the sake of business. Thank you for the opportunity, and I am ready to continue providing our information, our expert opinion, to have discussions and to help as much as we can. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Well, I can assure you that the new head of customs will be Ukrainian national, well, as stipulated by the customs law. Now, I would like to invite Ms. Martina Boguslavet. The floor is yours, madam.
Доброго вечора, колеги. Щиро вам дякую за запрошення. Ми дуже
Dear
цінуємо,
colleagues, good evening. Thank you so much for invitation. We're so grateful to you that you engage the public for this session. And I'm the head of the MEJA Center. And for the last 6 months, we have monitored competition procedure for the head of the BES, Bureau of Economic Security. So thank you so much for this session. Is publicly available, is open, and I hope that it will be the same on all other competition stages. And also, I would like to say thank you to the Commission that you have already taken into consideration our proposals for the draft rules of procedure, which we have already submitted before for another competition. You have taken into consideration all our timelines and deadlines regarding this stage of submission of applications. You have already taken into consideration. So thank you so much. And we are so thankful to you that you already envisaged in the draft rules of procedure, which you are going to approve the deadlines and timelines for publishing actually protocols of this commission. For us, it's also extremely important. So thank you so much that you have already considered the experience of the best director competition. Regarding our vision for the future winner and head of the State Customs Service, we would say that we expect from this person to give responses to 3 key challenges. That's first of all, zero tolerance to corruption. That's the first thing. And second, to adapt their work to recommendations of the European Commission. And the third thing, to take into consideration opinion of the public regarding the customs sector. So regarding the first thing, zero tolerance to corruption, the head shall foster work of whistleblowers to disclose corruption in the customs authorities and all over Ukraine, rather to block it. And secondly, the candidates shall comply with all integrity requirements. And actually, this integrity issue will be also checked during the competition. And we are, as CSO, we are going to carry out the integrity check from our side for all candidates who participate in this competition. So we do really hope that the Competition Commission will take our findings into consideration. And the last thing, so this person, which is going to be the head of the State Customs Service, shall be capable to respond in a timely manner to anti-corruption investigations, to some scandalous disclosure of any possible or potential corruption offenses in the Customs Service. And it shall be reflected in the HR policy and all the strategies regarding functioning of the State Customs Service. Because unfortunately, that's what current leadership of the State Customs Service misses and doesn't have in their experience. And of course, it's so important in light of accession to the EU to take into consideration the key findings of the EU enlargement report. Very soon there will be a new report of the European Commission. And also in its latest report, the European Commission mentioned the priority of digitalization, implement the strategy on digitalization of the customs service activities shall be drafted and implemented. Of course, it's also a crucial anti-corruption tool, and we expect to have it from the new head of the Customs Service. And the last thing, which I have already mentioned, so in terms of performance of the Customs Service, so this head shall be open to feedback both from the public and law enforcement authorities. So the last survey of the NACP showed that unfortunately that Ukrainian citizens think that the Customs Service is the second most corruptive authority, and for businesses, Customs Service is actually on the first place in terms of corruption risks. So we hope that all these qualities will be held by the new head of the Customs Service. And to wrap up, I would like to say that from our experience of monitoring of the competition procedure for the head of the BES, we would like to warn the Commission that the previous competition commission for the BES competition were exposed to huge political risk, and we cannot be sure that such risk will not be, such tension, such political pressure will not be raised in front of you. So you can expect for our support, and we can guarantee that we will be independent in reporting and covering on the developments and novelties in this sector. And if such political pressure is, we will definitely show it. And thank you so much also for raising this issue of deadlines and 6 months. And if the authorities will try to narrow down such 6 months timeline, we will consider it also as a political pressure, and we will of course disclose this information and spread this information. So thank you so much that you engaged the public from your very first session. And yes, I hope that this competition will be as much transparent as now till its very end. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Miss Halina Vdovina.
Доброго дня, колеги. Я є
Dear
Галина
colleagues,
Вдовина.
good afternoon. My name is Galina Vdovina. I'm the head of the Public Council under State Customs Service. You know, it's so difficult to speak after my colleagues because they were very professional in their speeches. But we are a public council which functions under auspices of the State Customs Service, and under our umbrella we have 40 different business associations and organizations. We are so grateful to you that you invited us and gave us the floor to participate in this session and express opinion of the business association. And so also thank you so much that you have engaged the specialized business community and the public into discussions from your very session. Today we clearly understand that the new head of SCS will impact not only on the quality of administration of the service, but also on the trust of business, the public, and the government. So it's clear that the new head will work according to the new code. The draft code is now under constant considerations. And one of the members of the committee which considers the new draft code is Tatiana Ostrikova. And I think that many of you know her. So we suggest to have those criteria of selection which are aligned with the European approaches. That Customs Service shall have balance between the security and the Customs Service. It shall act transparently and openly. For us as public council, professional competence is a top first priority. And we know clearly and very well what could be if the Customs Service is led by unprofessional persons. New head shall be perfect and well aware of Ukrainian legislation in the customs sector and knowledge in international legislation, has experience of challenging and fighting back with corruption and smuggling, shall be also well versed of digitalization and experience. Many things have already been mentioned by my colleagues, but I would like to say that the new head should have strategic vision of where the service shall move forward. So their role will be not just to administer the service, but to optimize and to make customs open to the businesses. So the third thing is about leadership. The strong heads, that's what has been mentioned by almost all speakers. The person capable to unite the team, make decisions in dire circumstances, even amidst the war, to be effective in their actions even during crisis, you know, because to be a head of the State Customs Service is actually a constant stress situation, and everyone knows about it. The first competence, that's integrity and reputation. Many of my colleagues have mentioned it, and I indeed clearly understand that it will be so hard to find a candidate, a person who would have all those competences, would meet all other criteria which I have mentioned. The fifth criteria, that's state-of-the-art management practices, that's analytics, artificial intelligence, digitalization. It's not about future, it's about today. We need that the new head realizes it, because, you know, even during such dire circumstances, the Customs Service is actually evolving so quickly, developing so quickly. We have automatization processes, we have simplification procedures, we have economic processes for different economic operators. And finally, the key thing which has been mentioned before, to be focused on at societal interest, because the customs service, it's not about borders and taxes. No, that's the image of the state. It's about national safety and security of the state. It's about trust from partners and the public. So we do really hope that this will be an open and honest competition procedure for selecting the best candidate. From our side, we will support as much as possible. We have already sent our proposals and ideas to the email address which have been provided to us in official manner. For us, it's also important. It's what's important that the new head will be professional and a person with integrity, which actually respects statehood, which is ready to contribute to build our future. Because unfortunately, each of us knows that actually 43% of income into our budget goes from the customs service. Thank you so much for your attention. Actually, I hope that the customs service taught me how to meet the timing of 5 minutes. So thank you. And let's move forward together till the very end of selection of the new head of the State Customs Service. I think that we will be the first ones to meet him.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All of you are very compliant with the 5 minutes, and you are very capable. Now I'd like to invite Ms. Valerina Ladchenko.
I guess it's me. Добрий день, мене звати Валерія Радченко, Центр протидії корупції.
My name is Valeria Radchenko and Contact Center, and I would like to express my words of gratitude to all to invitations that from the first session you engage the business and the public. Unfortunately, everyone has mentioned that business right now is associated with corruption, and it's not only about surveys, but also it's about the current workers of the anti-corruption court. And regarding our expectations, anyway, it's about actually cleaning all these from the customs service. And if we take some statistics, in the customs service we have 10,000 people, and in the best there was the staff of 4,000 people. Now, after the cleaning procedure, actually the so-called procedure for cleaning the staff, they have minus 1,000. So it's of course about our expectations. It's the leadership of the new head in terms of EU integration and making changes to legislation. Many colleagues have already mentioned, both from the side of the business and the public, you know, all the problems that have been on the table regarding the customs service. They have been on the table for the last 10 years, but unfortunately they have been unsolved all these 10 years, and the situation doesn't change. And of course, we clearly understand that it will be quite a challenge. We were asked what's our vision on the interaction between the head of the customs service and the government. And of course, it's clearly important that the government shall be never against proposals regarding changes suggested by the new head. And I would like to support ideas of my colleagues regarding the importance of openness and transparency of the whole process, specifically regarding discussions on each candidate, because it's a very important element to build trust for the competition, because each public member, each business member shall clearly realize and be aware why this or that candidate is selected or not selected. We have also partially read through the rules of procedure, so major part of this text is so to say copy-paste from the rules of procedure for the best direct heads competition procedure, but we have also some new provisions regarding the deletion of documents after competition procedure ends its work. So I think it's based on the previous experience, but I would like to hear about the opinion of those new provisions which were added to the rules of procedure. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to invite the last but not least speaker, Ms. Yulia Drogovos. You have the floor, sir.
Дякую. Дякую за
Thank
можливість
you.
взяти участь
Thank you for this opportunity to participate in this session. I'm grateful that I'm here among such so experienced experts, public activists, public actors, and I do really hope that such joint work will lead us to satisfy all expectations that have been raised by previous speakers. I would also like to say that I agree with everything which has already been mentioned. I support all these points. I would like only to add up some points which maybe were mentioned already or were partially mentioned. I would like to remind you that right now Ukraine is developing itself in the wartime, and we are facing the problem of lacking investments, and we have this challenge to renew the economy of Ukraine. We're clearly aware of the condition of our economy. So I forgot to present myself. I'm the vice president of Ukrainian Union of Industrials and Entrepreneurs. So our organization actually deals with protection of interests of business representatives. So for us, it's so crucial that the customs service led by a new head will do everything possible for Ukraine to be a safe country for investments, and the service shall not create obstacles for business development, for business activities. We are really interested in cooperation between the new head and the public, for the new head to hear us. And it shall not be just cooperation, but indeed we shall have this opportunity to deliver our proposals, our vision to the new head, and we shall have an opportunity to have a constructive dialogue. And as a result, there shall be some constructive decisions based on such a dialogue. Also, I would like to say the following. As having experience of interaction with so many different public authorities, I would like to focus on the following: that the new head shall be a patriot of Ukraine. This person shall be able to put interests of Ukraine in the first place, and indeed, you know, to preserve and maintain such statehood positions, and such interests shall be in priority for this new person, and shall go first before the personal interests. And we do really hope that such head indeed will be found to lead the new state customs service. And maybe my next point will be a little bit different in comparison with all others, but this person shall have a high IQ, high intellect, because it's important. It will influence on the decisions made by this new person and on their actions. The new head shall be capable to create, to establish a strong team of like-minded people, which will be able to work effectively independently. Because, you know, it does, it's important, integrity and professionalism of the new head, but the new head alone will not be able to do everything by themselves. This person should be able to build such team, and that's why it's important to have leadership qualities of such person. Also, I would like to mention that this person shall have general vision of development of the customs service, and have vision on importance of technologies and technological development, and its role in the development of the customs service. So, given all the standards which Ukraine shall implement in terms of the EU accession, this head shall indeed introduce such new standards in customs service activities. Yes, and of course, zero tolerance to corruption and integrity. I fully support this quality. So this should be a professional person. That's crucial. That's so important. But at the same time, this person should have professional team, which will help them to introduce in reality all their ideas. And one more thing I would like to mention, that this person shall know how to make swift decisions, and not only swift, but also effective decisions, and shall be able to bear responsibility for such decisions. Because, you know, without responsibility, we all see what it could lead to and unfortunately face outcomes of such unresponsibility. It's so important for this person to realize their inner responsibility and be capable to implement everything needed for our service to be the one which we want to have, which we expect to have, which has already been described today, and as it should be, in order for us to rebuild future Ukraine. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for all the 12 speakers. Now, I think we exhausted the list of invited speakers. And, well, all your presentations are very helpful for us to develop what kind of expectation that the society or business and the civil society have for the head of customs. I often heard that first integrity or efficiency, but then often measurable by KPIs, or trade facilitation, balance between facilitating trade and control, and naturally the use of digitalization or technology in general, and also as customs is not only revenue collection, but combating illicit trade. And after all, ensuring corruption-free management is what you suggested. And also, quite often, you suggested international cooperation, and in this context, alignment with EU standards, which is also very understandable given your accession process. And for the quality and the competence, you placed importance on professional expertise, leadership and human resource management, team building capability. And also often because of the environment in which the head of customs works, resistance to external pressure or stress. That is what you have really stressed. And of course, as customs is a legal institution under the customs law, rule of law is also very important conditions for the head of customs. And also, you often raised the issue of what kind of roles that government or business or civil society can play. And often I heard political support, ensuring non-interference from the political pressure. And that is what, of course, the government, but also business and civil society can play. And especially in terms of, custom business partnership, I often heard the word trust-based partnership between customs and business, which is very important. And also, interestingly, many speakers talked about open to feedback for customs, and for that, customs would listen to the feedbacks from business or civil society, which in turn, shows the role of business and other stakeholders. Therefore, all those, this is not an exhaustive list, but what I noted and very helpful for us to develop our, rules of competition and the criteria for selecting the head of customs. Well, I would like to note that written submission may be provided within 5 working days meaning that no later than October 15th, by speakers wishing to elaborate further. Also those speakers who are not able to speak or present orally today, you are most welcome to submit written contributions. Within 5 working days, that means no later than 15th of October. And you all know the email address of the commission, that is konkurs.dmsu@gmail.com. Well, that means customs administration. And also, I would like to clarify that when you submit the written contributions, the full text of those submissions, along with the names of the contributors, will be published on the Cabinet of Ministers website. But again, I would like to ask you to submit written contributions within the limit of the 5 working days, so that we can take into account your submissions in developing the rules of competition. Well, once again, I would like to thank all speakers for their constructive engagement. And I would like to declare that this agenda item 5 of public hearing is closed. Well, now I'm entering to the final agenda item, that is closing of the session. The next meeting of the commission will be held towards the end of the month, and the details of how and when we will hold the meeting will be published on the Cabinet of Ministers website, as always. And I would like to announce that now we completed all items on today's agenda, and therefore, on behalf of all 6 commissioners, I would like to express appreciation to the speakers, representative of international organizations, members of the public, media, and the journalists who followed the session, as well as the working group and the interpreters for this valuable support. And with this, now I would like to announce that the meeting is adjourned. Thank you.